So, hi guys, it's Kasim again. I saw this interesting question that I wanted to talk a little bit about. I hope it can add some value to the quality of your life. The question said, would you encourage young people to consider your career? Why or why not? But before I answer that, guys, please can you help me get to 1,000 subscribers by June by liking my channel and subscribing? Also, if you like what I'm going to say in this video, please can you like the video because it helps with the YouTube algorithms. It helps show it to more people. So if you can do, you'd be a legend. If you don't want to do it, that's cool. I completely get it. Okay, cool. Anyway, so let me talk a little bit about this. So the question is, would you encourage young people to consider your career? Why or why not? So uh, I would say that no, I wouldn't encourage young people to consider my career. I would consider them to skill up and educate themselves and figure out what is important to them. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is I was looking at some data which was saying that on average, people who were essentially born after 2000 are going to have, on average, somewhere between 8 and 11, 8 different careers, right? So that means, you know, so back in the like sort of pre-industrial age, pro industrial age. So basically anywhere between kind of the 1895 to about 1990, you were told that the strategy that you should use in terms of your career and for providing for your family is to get one job, stay in that job, become an apprentice, work really, really hard, and at the end of it, get an amazing payout in terms of your pension, get a gold watch or a pen, and that was it. Today, you can't do that. There's no way you can do that because the average life expectancy of a company today is somewhere around 8 to 9 years, right? Just companies don't last that long. Why? Because the rate of change is so quickly. The late Peter Drucker said that we live in the era of the three C's, which is accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. Essentially, the world is become globalized, right? If a job is advertised here in the UK, you do not just see it in the town that you're in, which is how it used to be before. Everybody in the UK gets to see the job. People in Amsterdam, people in Germany, people in Copenhagen, people in the USA, people in India can all see the job. And let me tell you how I learned this. So I was an estate agent for 7 years. And when I was an estate agent, I obviously met a lot of people who I sold houses to. And I would meet people who would come from Germany. There was a company called Huawei. There is a company. I'm sure you've heard of it, Huawei, which is like a telecoms company. And people who'd work for Virgin Media, and people who'd work for, what's this company called? Microsoft. And they would come into the area where I live in Reading, in Berkshire, in the UK, and they would be coming in for like a period of 5 years on a contract. And I'm like, why the hell are you coming in for 5 years? Because in order for them to move up in terms of position and to basically get to a really high position quickly, it meant that they had to basically move from country to country, right? Because that's where the opportunities were, right? Sometimes the money was better for them in Germany. Sometimes the money was better for them in Shanghai. Sometimes the money was better or there was a position which was better for them here in the UK. And they had to have a contract here for 5 years. And I thought, God damn it. So these people are moving like, in a period of 10 years, they can move 3 or 4 different times in different careers, in different companies. And I was like, this is nuts. This is crazy. And so I learned that basically, in order to survive today, you are going to have to change careers and move different companies much more often than people had to be before. So the key to be able to do that actually is to develop the skills that are going to be able to allow you to be able to become flexible and move and adapt very quickly. In fact, there is some traits. There is a book that I'm going to be writing called How to Give Yourself an Edge Leading Up to 2058. And one of the things that I talk about in that book is that if you want to have an edge over other people, develop the ability to adapt really quickly. Most human beings hate change. Most human beings takes us ages to get used to something. If you can develop the ability to change really quickly, adapt, learn the rules, learn the fundamentals, learn how things work really quickly, you're always going to have an edge. In fact, one of the other rules that I talk about in that book to give yourself an edge is that I say it's better to be first than the fastest. Meaning, if me and Usain Bolt was in a race and let's say we're going to run a mile, but Usain Bolt gave me no, let's not use a mile. Let's use 1,000 meters. And Usain Bolt gave me 750-meter head start. Even though he's faster than me, I will win. Because I have a head start. Because I'm in front of him. So one of the other things, to take this further, one of the other things that I talk about in that book is that you want to develop the ability to pattern recognition. Meaning you want to learn how the patterns and the cycles of life, because life is basically cycles and patterns, and the quicker that you recognize these cycles and patterns, the quicker and trends and viral things, the quicker you can jump on them. Let me give you an example. If you knew that cryptocurrency was going to be cryptocurrency now and it's going to be worth what it is now, if you have the money, you would have spent loads of money in it. If you knew that Facebook was going to become what Facebook or Amazon is going to become what Amazon is today, you would have invested every penny that you had in it. So if you can learn that, because companies are developing very quickly and they're growing much faster, right? So it's taking shorter time for a company to go from nothing to a massive company. It means that you can make some huge money very, very quickly. Now, you may say, well, Kasim, life is not about money. I don't care about money. Cool, I get it. That's your thing. But for me, I regard money as very important because it helps me leverage things. It helps me help other people. It helps me invest in things. It helps me create generational wealth. It gives me stability. Like, money is really important to me. It isn't everything, but it's really important. So what I would share with you is, it isn't so important that you choose a career. What's more important is that you skill up, that you equip yourself with the skills and the traits and the abilities that you are going to allow you to be able to succeed anywhere you go. So meaning, it's much more important. It's less important for you to be somebody who's, let's say, well educated, than it is to have somebody who is got a lot of creativity. So, for example, that's one of the things that I think is really important. Let's say you're somebody who's really creative, and you create something online. You know, I say the new CV today is your online presence. CVs are no longer going to exist. So you know when you go to a workplace and they ask for your CV, that's no longer going to exist in the future. Your CV is going to be your online presence. Meaning, if you have got, for example, like for me, if you really want to know a lot about me, all you have to do is look at my videos, right? Look at my Facebook, look at my Instagram. It will tell you a lot about me. It will tell you what I'm passionate about. It will tell you who I follow. It will tell you things that I post. That's what people are looking for. In fact, I was reading something that was saying that today, when you apply for a job, the first thing a recruiter looks at is your online presence. They look at your Facebook, they look at your Instagram. Why? Because they want to know, who are we dealing with here? So what I say is, if you can create a portfolio of work or contribution online, is going to give you really good standing, right? So that may be that you're really good with computers, and what you do is you go on YouTube and you create loads of videos about computers. Or you go on, what's that website called? There's a website where you can do, you can like set up courses. I can't remember the name of the website, but there's a website where you can set up courses and people pay you for it. Or for example, let's say that your skill is, or the thing that you're really good at in terms of creativity, is that you're really creative in terms of articulating. You're really good at maths, and so you teach people online who come from foreign countries how to do courses, or you've written a little book or something. basically what I'm saying to you is, in the future, because of robots and artificial intelligence, anything which can be done over and over and over again is going to be replaced by a robot. You don't need it. You don't need people to do things that are simple and that can be repeated over and over and over and over again, right? But what you can't replace are things to do with human emotion, so things to do with like caring for people, things to do with like empathy, like therapists. You can't replace those things, right? And so your advantage is going to be creativity. The more creative that you are, the more people are going to love you, the more valuable you're actually going to become. So I hope that this is kind of giving you some understanding of what I would do, but I don't encourage people to focus on a career. I encourage people to, or my career, I encourage people to focus on their skills, on their attributes, on their self-development, on their awareness, on their understanding, on their knowledge, on their wisdom, on their decision making. Those are going to be the things that are actually going to be most valuable in the future. Honestly, being in a company for 30 years or 20 years or 15 years is going to mean nothing. Because when you go into a different job, they're going to have completely different skills. They're going to need you to do completely different things. And if you don't like doing those things, or you're going to take ages to learn it, they have loads. Like, look at, let me tell you how I learned this. I learned this from TikTok. This is how I learned about it. I was like, damn, how is TikTok growing so much? How is what was the other one? Snapchat growing so much? Because this new generation don't give a shit. They will go on whatever is hot. They will move to whatever is the newest thing. They don't give a crap about loyalty anymore. Loyalty is not a quality that people look for when it comes to employment. They're looking for people who can get the job done, who are effective, who are productive. That's what employers are looking for now. And I was like, damn, if you're loyal but you don't adapt quickly, you're not going to be as valuable to a company as somebody who isn't as loyal. But damn, they know the trends, they know what works, they know how social media works, they know how algorithms work. That person is a lot more valuable to a company than somebody who's loyal. Does that kind of make sense? So what I encourage you to do is focus on personal development, your skills, your attributes, focus on understanding trends, on understanding people, understand psychology. One of the other things that I talk about, which I think is really important, is develop the ability to collaborate with people from all walks of life. Because the world has become globalized, the person who is able to work with Asians, transgender, Muslims, women, somebody who's able to work with disabled people, someone who's able to work on somebody who's a CEO, and then somebody who is a consultant, and somebody who is a junior person at the company, that person is who's going to get a head start. And this was actually solidified by a program which I watched, like, I think it was last week. Last week, I watched a program on TV which was about kids who were from a normal conventional state school going to a posh school and learning the differences, and then the posh kids went to a normal school, a state school, and see what was the difference. And what I learned from the posh school, from the private school, which I'd never really thought about, is that private schools are constantly having functions. They have these gatherings and parties, and they have these cocktail meetings, and all of these social gatherings. And I was like, why are they constantly having these? Do you know why? Because who you know matters a lot, right? It's not everything, but it matters a lot. And if you're going to these social events and you're meeting people who are CEOs, directors, who are entrepreneurs, millionaires, and you're not able to converse with them, and you can't talk about politics, and you can't talk about the left, you can't talk about Marxism, and you can't talk about communism, and you can't talk about socialism, and you can't talk about cryptocurrency, you can't talk about the banking system, you can't talk about money, you can't talk about inflation, you can't talk about the housing market, you're going to be fucked, because you can't relate to people on that level. But if you're able to talk to people on that level, positionally, you become a very valuable person, right? And it just puts you at a whole different level than most other people. Because a lot of people, they can't speak to a CEO. They don't know how to speak to them. What would they talk about, right? But like, for example, me, I can have a conversation with a CEO because I can talk about balance sheets. I can talk about the problems with directors and partners and recruitment and HR and having to deal with legislation and having to deal with going to court a lot, right? Because a lot of CEOs spend their time in court. A lot of people don't even know that. But big companies get sued all the time and somebody has to go into court. So like, to be able to speak to things on not only on an individual level, but a community level, but a global level, but a national level, is a whole different skill altogether. And if you can do that, you have an edge. So that was it. I hope it's helped you out. I don't know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear what you think. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, guys, if you want to support me get to my 1,000 subscribers by June. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.